Sage Wanderer here, and welcome to my van down by the river. So today I want to talk a little bit more about this topic of Seth Rich, and specifically this witness that has come forward that is being referred to now as Luke Anand. So first of all, let me talk about InfoWars for a minute. Many of you are going to say this is InfoWars, and so therefore, just because InfoWars reported on it doesn't mean it isn't true. They reported on the inauguration. It happened. They report on a lot of things, and they're there, and it's happening. So they are a news source because they are, at times, reporting news. Now, having said this story is mainly coming through InfoWars. However, I'm basing my information not just off their report, but off Jack Burkman. And you can get more information by going to www.jackburkmanradio.com. So this story starts with a guy named Jack Burkman who claims to be a private, not an investigator because he's a lawyer, but like a researcher. And he's been trying to get to the bottom of the murder of Seth Rich, this mysterious unsolved murder. And, Jack Burkman has even been shot and dragged behind a car during this process. So he's been very dedicated to this process. And, Seth Rich, a lot of people think, oh, well, this is just some mysterious street crime. Then why did Donna Brazile, the former head of the Democratic National Convention, why on earth did she dedicate her book to Seth Rich and say that because of him, she was now afraid for her life? That because of what happened to Seth Rich, she was afraid for her life, and it took courage for her to write her book, which does in so many ways throw Hillary Clinton under the bus. So, Seth Rich, just a quick synopsis here. He was a DNC staffer who had access to data. He was purported to have kept a thumb drive with a lot of information on it all the time, and that he was a Bernie Sanders supporter, and that during the operation of his business he uncovered some emails that contained information regarding Bernie Sanders and how Hillary Clinton had deep-sixed Bernie. And Donna Brazile confirms this action and how it went down in her book as well. So Jack Burkman claims that he was contacted by a guy named Luke Anand. This is obviously an alias they're using. He doesn't want to use his real name for good reason. Luke Anand claims that he's able to testify that it was a DEA agent and an ATF agent who killed Seth Rich on a street corner in Washington, D.C., shooting him twice to retrieve a thumb drive that he kept on his person. And just a reminder who Seth Rich is. Seth Rich is believed by many, including myself, to be the actual source of the WikiLeaks emails and not the Russians. So the whole Russian collusion thing was really about who released the emails about what Hillary Clinton did to Bernie Sanders, because that's what cost her the election. Let's get real. She lost the election because she cheated, and nobody likes a cheater. And those Bernie Sanders supporters stayed home, or some of them voted for Trump, and that did her under. That did her in, and I don't think she'll ever recover from it. But they wanted to muddy the waters by claiming it was Russia, and they appointed this bogus inquiry, and all of this stuff was really about these emails, which WikiLeaks swears up and down they did not get from a Russian. They got it from a private individual, and many people believe that Assange has all but admitted that it was Seth Rich that gave him the emails. And we won't even talk, if you want, I did another video on this. Go back and research some of this. Let's talk about Luke Anand and what he knows and who he is. So who is he? So Jack Burkman claims that he vetted this guy, that he checked him out, checked his background, confirmed his identity before he proceeded with him at all. And he says that this man was a decorated vet, that he was former Army intelligence, that he worked in Maryland law enforcement and had a stellar, a heroic record as a law enforcement officer. And so it appears to be that this ATF agent and this DEA agent that did the deal let Luke Anand in on it, or he heard about it in some way, or they confessed it to him. But he claims to have first-hand account to the murder, and tying it to these two agents, a DEA agent and an ATF agent, who were supposed to be working from a command from a higher level. And the order was to get the thumb drive away from Seth Rich, and then put a couple of bullets in him so that he, doesn't testify as to what he saw on the thumb drive. So what was on the thumb drive? Well, he was killed after the release to WikiLeaks. So WikiLeaks already had the information. Did the person that called in the hit on him know that? Were they trying to prevent what actually happened, the release of the emails to WikiLeaks? That is what cost her the election. There's no doubt about it. Or was there something else on there? It wasn't just, the WikiLeaks emails didn't just contain information concerning the Bernie Sanders matter, but also there was information in there that led some people to believe that there was evidence of spirit cooking, and Satan worshiping of Moloch, and the sacrificing of children, and child trafficking, all contained in those emails in code. What else was on the thumb drive? Was there more to it than that? Was Seth Rich holding onto this thumb drive as life insurance? Did he make alternate copies? Did he know what was on there? Was there something else on there? Was the 2-minute video on there? Was it the 33,000 lost emails? Did that detail the corruption, the Clinton corruption? And did it show child trafficking? If you watch this show, you know that I believe at the heart of this civil war is high-level corruption led by Obama and Hillary Clinton. That they had been involved in the 8 years of receiving money from foreign governments for both technology, state secrets, and state favors, favoring their country in trade deals, and that these kickbacks were being laundered through the foundation, the Clinton Foundation, and that it was common practice when you're running this kind of criminal cabal that the money runs downhill and everybody gets an envelope, and that mountains of cash, truckloads of cash, busloads of cash, plane loads of cash was being filtered into the Washington, D.C. and surrounding area military intelligence, police, the FBI, the DEA. Everybody was getting an envelope from Obama and Hillary, and they were so many of them in on it. And maybe Luke Anand was one of these people that didn't take the envelope or never got offered one, but he knew things. So what's really interesting is when you look at who are these three people and where are they from. Luke Anand was based out of Baltimore, Maryland. He claims these assassins, this ATF and DEA agent, were both based in Baltimore. And what's really interesting is what was Rod Rosenstein, the current, we all know who Rod Rosenstein is. He's the deputy attorney general right now, who's really the acting attorney general in so many ways, especially when it comes to anything to do with this Russia collusion and Trumpgate stuff. And he's sitting on emails that he will not release to Congress under subpoena, and he's been stonewalling them for weeks. He's arrogant, he's full of himself. He actually said this: "I'm the Deputy Attorney General of the United States of America." Like somehow that makes him more powerful than the Congressman of the United States of America, duly elected through a constitutional, election. The arrogance of this guy is dumbfounding. So Rod Rosenstein's previous position was that of U.S. Attorney in Baltimore, Maryland. The same place this ATF agent and this DEA agent and this Luke Anand character were all based. So Rosenstein was on the payroll for all of this corruption, and he was the money source. So when the order came down from above that Seth Rich needed to be dealt with, it was Rod Rosenstein's job to call in favors from those who had been receiving envelopes underneath him in those two agencies. Sometimes in mob folklore, and criminal folklore, when it's time to kill somebody important and everyone that's in on the conspiracy is forced to take a shot so that they all killed him and no one can blow the whistle on anyone else without blowing the whistle on themselves. And maybe this is why they chose an ATF agent and a DEA agent, to get both of those groups represented there, so they had a stake in this and something to lose. And so Rosenstein calls in a favor of these two agents who go and retrieve this thumb drive. The problem is the thumb drive may have been copied already. I mean, he gave some of it to WikiLeaks, but was there more? Was there a lot more? Did he uncover the depth of depravity? Did he uncover the depth of corruption that we can't even imagine? And is that what he was carrying around in his pocket? And he seemed like a smart man. He would have made copies. Is that how this snuff film purported to have ended up on the dark web? Is that where that came from? Is there more out there? So how high does it go? Well, we're already to the Deputy Attorney General of the United States of America. So Seth Rich was tied to these ATF and DEA agents and Luke Anand through his own death. Rod Rosenstein called in the hit. Rod Rosenstein was also the boss of James Comey and later Robert Mueller. He would both sick onto Donald Trump, because at the top of this is Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, who have hatched a scheme together to keep the money train running through her 8 years of presidency, and to get 16 years of criminal cash stashed up, like the dragons I talk about in some of my other videos, laid up on their pile of gold, just rolling in it. It's a sign of evil. The love of money is the root of all evil, and just follow the money to the evil source, and there you go. So Obama and Hillary have got this going on. That's why they did the criminal investigation of Donald Trump. When I say criminal, I mean their criminal act. That's why they criminally and illegally and unconstitutionally surveilled their political opponent to try to dredge up dirt. And they couldn't find any, or plus, trust me, they would have played it already. All they could do is make up lies. And the Russia collusion story is the biggest lie they ever made up. And they had a reason to be in it together. So you've got Rod Rosenstein, who is at the heart of this whole mess and still is. And he's tied directly to a lady who is no longer working in government. Her name is Loretta Lynch. Loretta Lynch was Rod Rosenstein's boss at the Justice Department and the Attorney General for Barack Obama's administration. For those of you who may have forgotten, Loretta Lynch had a meeting with Bill Clinton on the tarmac concerning Hillary Clinton's private email server. Why would Hillary Clinton need a private email server? Because she was conducting illegal business, and that's the best way to keep it quiet, is to run it through your own server. Why run incriminating evidence through a monitored email source? Come on, she had to have a private server, and what a better place to keep it than close to home. Mom and pop, real small, under the radar. Ultimately, it's going to be the thing that did her in, I'm sure. But the the private server was an issue. The 33,000 missing emails were an issue. Comey was going to incriminate himself if he did not continue the investigation. He'd already done all he could to stonewall, and he felt the pressure, especially leading up to the election. And so Bill Clinton meets with Loretta Lynch and gets them to downgrade this from an investigation to a matter. And then suddenly Comey's language changes from criminal negligence on behalf of Hillary Clinton's private email server, but makes it more of a, oops, sorry, it was a mistake anybody might have made. Yeah, it was just, we can't arrest people for being stupid. They do it all the time. Stupid is a crime, or stupid is as stupid does. So, all of these people probably coming down from Obama, does it stop at Rosenstein? Is he the one that called in the hit on Seth Rich? Did that hit come from Loretta Lynch? Did it come from Barack Obama? Is that why Bill Clinton met Loretta Lynch on the tarmac? What's the timeline of that? I'll do some research on that and get back to you. All of this filters down to just a poor guy who loved his country, who tried to blow the whistle on some corruption, who gets 2 bullets in the back on a Washington, D.C. street corner. And we are going to get to the bottom of this. If there's any truth in this Luke Anand stuff, all of us patriots are going to keep pushing until it pops out, because, you know, it appears to be, that it appears to me in particular, and I'm sure to many of you, that we are uncovering and unveiling and unmasking a dark, evil substructure inside of our government that is corrupt and rotten to its core. And we must do surgery on our country if we're going to save it. God save our republic.